This next video on cardiovascular congenital defects is covering the transposition of the great vessels. And this condition is exactly what it says that it is. It's typically associated with maternal diabetes, but here is what occurs. So normally, I'll show you normal, then I'll show you what's occurring. Normally, blood comes from the the body through the vena cavas into the right atrium. From the right atrium, it travels down into the right ventricle. And from the right ventricle, it goes to the pulmonary tract where it's oxygenated. Then it follows this way, comes in through, now it's oxygenated, into the left atrium, down into the left ventricle, and then out through the aorta into the body. That's normal, okay? So kind of does this sort of thing, crosses over like this. So it goes through both tracks. Now, in the case of a transposition of great vessels, we take this vessel here, we take this vessel here, and we swap them. So now, blood comes from the body into the right atrium, down the right ventricle, goes out through the aorta instead of the pulmonary trunk, aorta, back into the body, and just makes this loop, okay? And then on the other side, same thing, another loop. It goes from the lungs to the left atrium, down to the left ventricle, back into the lungs, and just makes a loop. So we've got two loops going on here instead of like a figure eight, what was going on over here where it crosses over and the lungs are kind of in the middle there. So now it's just a lung loop and a body loop. Now, how did the baby survive inside of the mother? When the baby was inside the mother, what we had the Ductus Arteriosus, okay? So the Ductus Arteriosus connected the aorta with the pulmonary trunk. Okay, so that way it would come across here, come down, swoop over, get into this track, get oxygenated, and then that way there was a connection between the two, so the baby could survive. But the problem now, as soon as that baby is going to be born, its prostaglandin E, which is maintaining and keeping this open, is going to shut off, and this Ductus Arteriosus is going to close off, severing the connection between these two tracks that was keeping the baby alive, and that baby's going to die really quickly. It's going to run out of oxygen. The only way to keep this baby alive is to give the baby prostaglandin E to keep this open after birth. So this won't close, so this will stay open. That way, the baby has a connection between the two tracks. It's not a very good connection, but it's a connection. It can keep the baby alive until surgery can be performed. So what they're going to do in the surgery, so they keep giving the baby prostaglandin E, and then the surgery is going to be to swap these two so that it resembles this, a figure eight track, as opposed to two loops. And that is the transposition of the great vessels.